Hey everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Welcome back to this YouTube channel on narcissism and healing from narcissistic relationships. And today we're doing an Am I the Asshole? And this is a good one. So, ready? I am a 23-year-old guy who lived with my girlfriend Anne, a 22-year-old woman, and my dog Bo. Recently, Anne's brother Al, a 25-year-old man, got laid off from work and couldn't afford to pay rent anymore. Anne asked if Al could stay with us, and I didn't see why not. Anne isn't on speaking terms with her parents, and I assumed Al probably also wasn't and didn't have another place to go. Plus, I really loved Anne, and I wanted to show her how important she was to me. Here's the issue. Anne told me Al had a mild dog allergy. When I initially spoke with both of them, I said I would do my best to accommodate, but would not under any circumstances get rid of Bo. I know, right? No. Both understood, and Al said his allergy wasn't too bad. Al moved in, and to be honest, he wasn't a great roommate. He didn't seem to be in a hurry to move out, as he spent most of his time sleeping and playing video games instead of looking for work. He didn't pitch in for chores and let laundry pile up in his room, then acted confused when I told him he had to do his own laundry. He ate the food we cooked but did not help with cooking or buying groceries. Worst, he ordered lots of fast food for himself and left wrappers, bags, and old food in his room, which made the whole apartment smell. I don't like Al. I don't like Al the hummingbird. I don't like this guy Al. After a month or so, Al said his allergies were getting worse and asked me to consider putting Bo in a shelter. I said absolutely not. But Anne said we should consider getting rid of Bo to accommodate her brother's needs. I said no, and we would not be discussing this further. She called me the asshole for choosing my dog over my family. Yeah. That's when I snapped. I said Al is not family, and he has been nothing but a hassle for the past month, and that if she wants to babysit her older brother, she can find her own place. Yep. She has no legal right to stay here because my name is on the lease and I pay rent. Anne is in graduate school and does not make enough money to afford a decent apartment on her own. That's her problem. So she tried again to convince me that I should prioritize Al over Bo. No. So I gave her an ultimatum. Either Al is gone in 24 hours or I kick both of them out. Bo stays no matter what. Both have since moved out, and while Anne and I are not officially broken up, I haven't heard from her in a few days. I know this may sound harsh, but Bo is my family. That doesn't sound harsh. He has been with me through some of the hardest times, and he is a rescue, which means he was already abandoned once, and I will not let this happen again. I feel nothing for Al, and while I thought I loved Anne, her willingness to get rid of someone I love as much as Bo the dog made my feelings change. When I explained this to my parents and sister, however, they said I should have at least considered getting rid of Bo to accommodate Al. No one should be accommodating Al. And that they could even take care of Bo themselves so he didn't have to go to a shelter or whatever. They said that if I saw Anne as family, which I did at one point, I should be willing to make sacrifices. But that was a sacrifice I wasn't willing to make. Does that make me the asshole? No, 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 and no. Okay. I understand I'm a little irrational about this because I have my little rescue cat, and I'm thinking I might actually kick my kids out of the house if they said the cat had to go. Cat's not going anywhere, right? Dog's not going anywhere. There's a sanctity to pets that I actually think that pets are like the anti-narcissist, right? They're actually deeply empathic, and my cat can be a little entitled, but she doesn't mean it. But like they're good and they're sweet and that good animal energy, like animals are like all the good stuff that people no longer are. But I think what to me is striking here. So it's Al, okay, which seems to obviously be the name of toxic hummingbirds, toxic people. That Al had absolutely no regard. I think that's the piece that even that it's so interesting to me how the Als of the world get enabled. Clearly, Al's monstrousness has come from being enabled and enables him, but in this really interesting remote way, because it doesn't sound like this person who wrote this, his parents have no relationship to Al, and yet how quickly family can fall into an enabling role. this person's very clear on how much they adore this animal, how this animal's been there. And I actually do have a problem with somebody summarily dismissing an animal. I really am not. Like, that's, if you're going to take on that responsibility, you've taken on a responsibility for a living creature from front to back. You really have. Then otherwise don't get it, and make the arrangements you need to make, for your life. But it's a... I mean, it's that idea of how toxic people get so enabled that this person can trash to behave like not even an adolescent should behave like that, but with the food wrappers and the not doing the laundry. And the sister, it's in a way, this person who wrote this got a real blessing because he thought he loved her a lot, but the relationship got tested in this early phase. I mean, she was already kind of riding on the free rent here. I mean, all of us in graduate school figured out a way to pay our rent. So she was already riding that out. So it seems there's some sort of entitled thing happening in that family. So here's the update. So this person who wrote this said, a lot has happened in the past couple of days, and I want to share that with you. So what are you hoping for this person? I know what I was hoping for. First of all, that Al needs to find a job, which Al may not. But that, like, Al actually has to figure something out. But it sounds like Anne figures everything out. And I don't think this person should stay with Anne. But let's see what happens. The person says, first, I officially broke up with Anne. Good for you. My parents have since apologized to me. Okay, so the parents saw the light. Apparently didn't realize the extent of my living situation with Anne and Al and thought I would only be getting rid of Beau for a few weeks. They even gave me money for changing my locks and installing a fancy security system. Okay, so the parents are back in our good graces. Lastly, this whole experience made me think that there are many dogs out there who have been cast aside for reasons similar to this. So not only am I keeping Beau, but I'm planning on adopting a second dog from a local shelter. My next girlfriend will be told up front that I'm a dog over significant other kind of guy. I think that this is an interesting Am I the Asshole, because there's also an interesting piece of communication. I don't even know that this person should have to say, I'm a dog over a significant other kind of person. It almost feels like this person almost can focus on, he knows who he is. He knows how he values the dog in his life. But it's more like he's more of a guy who's looking for someone who's empathic and not an enabler. But at the end of the day is that these kinds of relationships can teach us what we do value and what we will endure. This person kind of did all the right things. They were in a relationship. They communicated clearly. They tried to meet their partner halfway, and then they got let down. There was another good thing about this thing is that this person set a boundary. Remember how I talk about true north? In this case, this guy's dog, Beau, was his true north. That true north that he might have vacillated on something else, right? If there was no dog, he might have let this foolish Al stay there in perpetuity. But true norths in our lives, when we're in toxic, entitled, unhealthy relationships, our true norths might lead us to take a fight that we ordinarily wouldn't feel equipped or want to take. And I think that that's the thing we need to remember. Some people think, like, am I ever going to be able to stand up in this relationship? True north is often where we do it. Beau happened to be his true north. I can tell you my little kitty is definitely a true north for me. And I will, I can't even imagine if someone told me to put my cat in a shelter. I'm not prone to violence. That could be the thing that pushed me over. But I think that what we've got to remember is how much toxic behavior is kept in place by entitlement. And interestingly, what is Am I the Asshole always about? Somebody wondering did I do the wrong thing by setting a boundary? Did I do the wrong thing by holding the line against toxic behavior? That's what so many of these are about. In this particular case, absolutely did the right thing, but that constant sense of self-blame that gets perpetuated and magnified by even the decent people in our life. Ultimately, his parents sounded like decent people, trying to get us to buy into this party line instead of giving people permission to say, listen, if this doesn't feel good and this doesn't feel healthy and safe, it's okay to walk away. I mean, it sounds like he's going to be a lot happier living in a neat and clean apartment with Beau and Beau's new friend. When the time comes, he'll find someone, and hopefully, whoever this person is, keep setting those boundaries and honoring the true north of his pups. Those are my thoughts. Thanks again.